Pay attention to the breath. Take a moment to center yourself. Inhale. 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 Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You may gently open the eyes. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Vedanta, the study of Vedanta, enables a person to understand true nature of oneself. Also makes a person recognize what one is really seeking in life. In and through all pursuits, what is one essentially seeking? What am I seeking? Vedanta makes a person understand that seeking itself. If you really observe life, we may think that we are seeking many things, but in fact, one is not seeking many things or many people. What one is essentially seeking is ananda or true happiness through every act of seeking. One is not seeking the car for the sake of the car. One is seeking the car for the sake of happiness. One is not seeking a house not just for the sake of the house, but for happiness. Now apply this principle to observe your own life experiences. You understand that you're never seeking something for the heck of it or just for the sake of it. You seek anything for the sake of ananda. But suppose something doesn't invoke that ananda in you, you do not want to be associated with that object or person anymore. What you are necessarily seeking is ananda. A person gets married in search of ananda for the sake of happiness. Because we have placed that happiness in external object or person. So as long as one's spouse is able to invoke happiness in me, in happiness in that person is associated with the spouse. After that, the same spouse is divorced or gets separated because that person is no more able to invoke ananda or happiness in me anymore. In fact, the person has not really changed from one way if you look at it, because everyone is changing. It's not that specially something has happened to that person. What has happened there is that the spouse is no more invoking happiness in me, in a person. Thus, I no more want to be associated with this person. Life is all about yoga and viyoga. Yoga means getting associated with something. Viyoga, you don't want to be associated with something or someone because it's no more invoking happiness in me. Vedanta makes you realize, hey, look at your life. You're always attributing happiness to an external object or an external person. In fact, what is happening is that external person or external thing is invoking your own true nature when you have that association. Why? Because that external person or situation is temporarily putting an end to all the desires, all the agitation of the mind, all the aspirations of the mind are temporarily dissolved in the presence of this object or person. But whatever happiness is you are experiencing is your own true nature. It's not coming from outside. It's manifestation of what is within, whatever is your own true nature. Once, it's a kind of a weird story, but can make a point, certain point. There was a dog, and it was very hungry, and it was walking, and it found a bone. And it started chewing that bone and started enjoying its meal now. So there was another wise dog was coming on the way, and the wise dog pointed out to this dog which was chewing this bone, said, "Hey, how are you?" The dog said, "Yes, I'm good." "What are you doing?" the wise dog asked. So this dog replied, "I'm enjoying the blood from this bone." So this wise dog said, "Hey, what is happening there is not the blood coming from this bone. This bone that you are chewing is sharp and it has made a cut in your mouth. And what the blood you think you're enjoying from the bone is not, that blood doesn't belong to that bone. That blood is coming from your own mouth." Similarly, whenever you get associated with a person or a thing and say that you are happy in that particular situation, that happiness is not coming from that object outside or person outside. What is happening is, momentarily, your thoughts, your agitations, your wants, desires, all of it has been put aside in the presence of this person. That person or object has invoked your true nature, and you're experiencing happiness at that particular period of time. This insight comes from Upanishad. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. You like the things not for their own sake, they become dear to you because they invoke the pleased self in you. They invoke your own true nature. You go for a holiday, you are standing in front of Himalayas or any other magnificent mountain, what happens there is that you have this whole feeling of happiness, peace. Why? Because in its presence, you have temporarily forgotten all your problems, all your agitations in the mind, the memory, the impressions of the past, the hurt of the past, the guilt, all of it is temporarily suspended. Thus, you are able to be happy, peaceful for few moments, because you have become impersonal in those moments. In fact, there is not even that person you when you are facing that amazingly grand mountain. There's no person for those few sacred moments. All that is this experience of peace and joy. And after that, what happens? Few moments, you're impersonal, you're just there. There doesn't seem to be any division between subject and object. You, the subject, and the object being that mountain. After some time, what happens? You don't know how to handle this. Now you take out your phone and want to capture that mountain. So the impersonal experience became personal, becomes personal. You have invoked the person the moment you have taken out the cell phone. Now you want to capture it. Till then there was awe. You could not capture what you were seeing. But now you want to capture it. You want to capture it. Now you were finding no fault with that mountain so far. You had total acceptance of what is, what was in front of you. There was total acceptance of whatever was in front of you. Now, suddenly, having taken your cell phone out, you think that, oh, lighting should have been little better. I'm not able to capture some dissatisfaction with what is. Thus, by that experience of Ananda, few sacred moments of peace are all lost now because there's no acceptance of what is. What is. This is a beautiful insight to also note that when you have total acceptance of whatever is, you are pleased and you have the experience of Ananda. Your own true nature gets manifested in the form of happiness and peace whenever there is acceptance. Whenever there is acceptance. That's why in spirituality, in Adhyatma, always the sadhana is done where? The Shishya goes to the Guru in search of Guru where? Where is the Guru residing? In forest. In forest. Where is the Gurukulam? Near the Poconos. In a naturistic setting. Or where were the sannyasis staying? On the banks of Ganga, in Rishikesh, Uttarakashi, etc. If you go to those places, very beautiful. Or where do the yogis and the wise people usually used to stay? Himalayas. On the foothills of Himalayas. Why so? Have you ever wondered why these people have chosen these particular landscapes? You know, whenever you are in the midst of nature, you have a sense of acceptance. You don't expect the nature to be anything different. It is what it is. But suppose you are in your living room, then you look around and say, oh, that should have been there. Oh, this should have been here. This is not all right. Maybe I should change the positions of this lamp should go there and that bookshelf should come here. You don't have acceptance. But in nature, you don't expect the mountain to be anything different. You have acceptance, somehow natural acceptance is there. So these landscapes become an avenue for you to accept things around you however they are. So that acceptance also invokes this pleased self, invokes your true nature, Ananda in you. So coming back to the discussion that we started, Vedanta makes you recognize that happiness is not located in things and objects outside. It is your own true nature. It's your own true nature. So if there is an understanding of this insight, so no more you will be transacting in the world to find happiness there. The search is as if complete. You're no more going to search for it in these wrong locations. Suppose you have lost your spectacles, your glasses. So a person has misplaced his glasses, and then he's somehow searching in his backyard. So his neighbor sees him and asks, "Hey, what are you doing? You seem to be searching for something." "Oh, I have misplaced my glasses and I'm searching for it." And the neighbor asks a question to him. "Hey, where were you from morning? When did you lose it?" "I think I was reading paper in the morning and after that I have misplaced it." "Did you come out of your home after that?" Neighbor asks, and this person says, "No." "Then why are you searching in the backyard? Go inside the home and search there." So our search for happiness is like that in the world. It's just not there. But then person keeps on trying. One thing after another, one is never satisfied. There was a cool drink ad in India back then. "Eh, dil mange more." Always this heart wants more. Keep on searching. And after a point, none of the regular things can inspire you anymore. At a certain age, a child used to be fascinated with sun, moon. At least in an ancient tropical country, Indian context, when a child is not eating food, the mother used to carry that young baby outside the home and tell the child to look at the moon. "Oh, look at the moon." And then suddenly the child is fascinated. The mother quickly puts a spoon of meal into the rice or something, whatever, into the mouth of the child, because the child is now fascinated with the moon. That was just enough. And after that point, after a certain point, the child somehow outgrows that fascination. Then you need better distraction. Cartoons, some poems, rhymes, etc. Better distraction. After a certain point, the child outgrows that, needs something more. A young adult, no more fascinated with regular things, want only specific distractions in order to be fascinated. So go on looking for more and more and more. People search for it in holidays, people search for it in careers, people search for it in food, people search for it in alcohol. Even that is no more giving me what I want, that kick. People go for smokes. That is also not enough. Go for drugs. Go higher, go San Francisco. So what one becomes finally, going on in search of more and more, and one is numb. Finally one is numb. One is no more fascinated with anything. It's as if a dead person living life. Internally one is dead, no more fascinated. No more fascinated with anything. Don't know, God knows what one is looking for, because still having gotten numb in and through all these experiences, still that person has not given up, still searching for more and more, totally dissatisfied, walking like a zombie, internally dead, looking for more and more. Alas, the person is never going to find what that happiness, peace, joy in the external objects and situations in the world. A person goes on manipulating the external, yet one has not discovered anything meaningful. Anything meaningful. So life just goes on. Vedanta doesn't want a person to live such a life. Vedanta wants a person to the vision of the Advaita is to recognize one's own true nature here and now and turn inward and look within. So when you ask, look within where? Should I take some MRI and X-rays and then look within? No, it's not that. From an extroverted approach where one is looking for happiness and peace outside, may you turn inward, search within, look at yourself. Let's look at oneself for the first time and see what is there. One never turns one's attention inward. Ramana Maharshi is giving exercises, giving sadhanas which will enable a person to turn inward, and have that mind which has an ability to be at peace, That is the manolaya. That's what Ramana Maharshi talked about. Sublating the mind temporarily using the sadhana of pranayama. And finally, you handle that mind, you handle the deep impressions of the mind, you handle the ignorance of the mind by just roasting it as if you're just taking away all those impressions in the light of knowledge. So all those impressions are dead and gone. Here is a simple mind which is wise. So that's what Maharshi is telling. We'll look into those verses. 13th verse we'll chant again. Laya vinashane ubhayarodhane layagatam punar bhavatino mritam. So this informed seeker, this informed person is no more going for temporary laya of the mind, temporary handling of the mind which is at peace, temporarily. In our context, in the previous verse, the sadhana suggested by Ramana Maharshi is pranayama. But as we discussed, people take too many other sadhanas too to achieve temporary laya of the mind, temporary dissolution of the mind, temporary handling of the mind. In fact, we need it also. Human life has become so complex. It's okay. You may take help of these sadhanas, worldly, religious, in order to get few moments of peace and quietude in the world. How else would you survive? How else a person can survive? Person will go mad. So one needs these moments of sanity brought about by probably music for somebody through reading a book, a long walk, a holiday. All of that is fine. But remember my Tylenol example. You don't want to keep on taking a pill as headache keeps on coming. That's not a wise approach. You want to fundamentally handle it. So Maharshi says that mind which has been sublated in the light of knowledge, all these impressions are all dead and gone in the light of knowledge, such a mind will not be distracted again. Such a mind won't be overly extroverted again. Such a mind is a wise mind. Such a mind will never again drag you into the cycle of samsara. Furthermore, Ramana Maharshi is explaining how this is achieved. 14th verse. Pranabandhanan lina manasam ekachintanan nashametyadaha. Pranabandhanan lina manasam ekachintanan nashametyadaha. Through the pranabandha, meaning through the pranayama, through the sadhana of these pranayamas, one can restrain the mind, one can bring about temporary dissolution of the mind, lina manasam. Temporary control and temporary handling of one's mind can be achieved by pranayama. But how do you find a permanent solution? How do you find a permanent solution? Maharshi says, ekachintanat. Ekachintanat. By focusing the mind on that one. What is that one? That is one without a second. That Atma Chaitanya. Chintanam. Focusing the mind, an inquiry into that one. What is that one? We have to supply another word. That one is Atma. Sachidananda Atma. By putting our attention on the I. On the I. This I is very much there all the time. I illustrated that with various examples. We never pay attention. We never pay attention. This I is there all the time, it comes out. But then, without understanding it, without thinking about it, you add adjectives to it. The I am comes out. I am. Then immediately you put an adjective called name. I am Swami Sachidananda. I am so and so person. So you never have an occasion to see what is this I am, what is this I am using all the time. That I is equated to body, mind, sense complex. That's the usual understanding that we have about this I. But through the inquiry of Drig Drishya Viveka, you can separate the I and the non-I, Atma and Anatma. What is Atma? That I am, who is the seer of everything. What is the not I? Anatma is the seen. What has happened is, all the time, this I takes the attributes of the not I. I, the seer, and what is the seen? The seen is the body. Body is something separate from you. But you take yourself to be this body, so you consider yourself to be of certain height and weight. Why? Because you have taken up the attributes of the body. You have taken up the attributes of the body. In fact, you are just not the body, you are something more. Something more. Look at this example. A person has a gangrene in the leg, in the feet. That person goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, this is a bad condition, we have to amputate the toe. Immediately, this person is ready for that procedure. All this while, the sense of I was there in the toe. But now, this person is ready to let go of the toe. Ready to let go of the toe. What is this? How is this happening? So in these moments, in our own life experiences, we do have this experience that I am something beyond the body. I'm something beyond the body. But we seldom pay attention to that. So Maharshi says, only then, eka chintanat, only by contemplating on that I, that one, the source of all, you can put an end to this problematic, ignorant mind. Only then the ignorance can be lost. Self-ignorance is lost only in the light of inquiry. You ask the question, are you really there? Are you real? Is it real? Then you get this insight. You get this insight. A great insight in life. All this is, then the regular question can be asked. Swamiji, it seems a little abstract. Can I have any day-to-day utility out of this drishya viveka? Out of this knowledge? I seem to understand, but then is there any application in our day-to-day life? I give this as one standard example of mine. Once, there was this boy who used to attend satsang with his mother. He used to just come and then be there, receive a fruit from Swamiji and go back. And on a Sunday Vedanta class. So one day Swamiji did not see this young boy. And he asked his mother, hey, what happened? Where is your son? So she said, he's not feeling well, so that's why he did not come today. So after a while, everybody is receiving prasad. That child comes in. He takes the fruit and Swamiji asks him, hey, you were missing. Your mother said you are not feeling well. What happened? So that boy replies, how are you? Are you fine? Swamiji asks the question. So the boy says, I am fine, tooth is aching. I am fine, tooth is aching. We don't know whether that boy had wisdom at 4th grade or not, but this is what is the power of drishya viveka. You are fine, you the Atma, the witness of everything, you are fine, tooth may be aching. You are fine, the body may have a disease. You are fine, the external situation may not be very right, but you are fine. You are fine because attributes belong to the objects outside. Attributes do not belong to you. Pain belongs to the body. You are the witness of the pain. You are the witness of the pain. What a way to handle the world. What a way to handle everyday life. Problems are there and I am witnessing it. Problems are being solved at the level of the body and I am witnessing it. You are never touched by the problems. You are never touched by anything. There is this amazing neutral gaze upon your own life and the world that you are able to see. So you always operate from this high standpoint. High standpoint. All the fascination in the world is lost. Whatever has to be done at the body-mind level in a context, a person does. But beyond that, one is not at all affected. One is not at all touched. One is neutral. Because there is nothing in this seed. Nothing in this seed. That ignorance is lost. That self-ignorance is lost, which considers, because of that ignorance, you consider yourself to be the body, an individual, separate from everything. That notion is just not there. Thus, problems are there at the level of the body. Problems may be there at the level of the mind, but you are never touched by it. You are untouched. Asangaha. Asangaha. So you are contented in yourself as you are. Why? Because one's nature is Sat Chit Ananda, of true happiness. In fact, Arjuna poses a question to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Oh Krishna, you have been talking about the nature of Atma. Okay, a wise person who has the knowledge of self, how does this person sit? How does this person live? So in response, Krishna gives the answer saying, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthan manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. Hey Arjuna, this is the wise person. As even the kama or any thought may arise, this person is never subject to that. He is one step behind. He is just a watcher of all of it. Even if something were to be raising in his mind, it's just like a wave, it comes and it just goes. The person is separate from it. And this person, Atman eva atmana tushtaha, this person, he has a sense of adequacy, has completeness in one's own swarupa. Thus, this person is not seeking ananda, tushtihi, satisfaction out of the world at all. This person is just satisfied. Whatever this wise person does out of happiness. It's a very different approach to life. One may be thinking that it looks same. No. An ordinary person is active in the world and doing many things in the world for the sake of happiness. The wise person is maybe doing many things in the world, but that person is doing not for the sake of happiness, out of happiness. The person may be eating, an ordinary person eats this and that for the sake of deriving pleasure and happiness out of it. A wise person spontaneously does the act of eating in a given situation, never for the sake of happiness, but out of joy, out of happiness. Any karma, any karya, it's a possibility. Even for a grihastha, to do whatever one wants to do, one is to do out of happiness instead of doing everything for the sake of happiness. When you keep on doing something for the sake of happiness, you get tired. You get frustrated. All those things come in. So, Maharshi is advising, ekachintanat nashametyadaha. This mind, which has ignorance, which is dancing around all the time, can come to a permanent end. This ignorant mind, the impressions of the mind, the ignorance in the mind can come to an end when you have the perception of yourself. And that perception, that knowledge comes through the self-inquiry guided by the Guru and the Shastra. And that chintana is eka, towards all mental energy is diverted towards knowing oneself. Knowing oneself. That's what Maharshi is telling. Moving further, we will chant this again. Pranabandhanan lina manasam ekachintanan nashametyadaha नष्टमानसोत्कृष्टयोगिनः कृत्यमस्ति किं स्वस्थितिं यतः कृत्यमस्ति किं स्वस्थितिं यतः. Maharshi is telling to this Utkrishta yogi, this yogi, a accomplished person who is of very high grade, Utkrishta is of very high level. For such a person who has this knowledge, whose mind is ignorance, all those deep-rooted wrong impressions are all sublated, to such a person, is there any action to be performed? Is there anything else to be done? So it's a rhetorical question. Question is being posed for us to inquire, is there something more for this person to be done? Because the orientation is you do something and you gain happiness. So such a person, this wise person, doesn't have this orientation at all. What is the orientation? You do something and gain happiness out of it. No, for such a person, there's nothing to be done. Nothing to be done. Out of happiness and peace, a person might do whatever action one is to perform in a given situation. So this action becomes something like sublated. In reality, this wise person is not looking for happiness out of a action. This truth of life is known very well. Such is a yogi's life. Such is an accomplished life, a jnani's life. There may be a lot of activity, yet that inner poise is never lost. That's why a jnani is compared to that of a swan, hamsa. If you look at the swan in a pond, it's gliding very smoothly. Very smoothly. But there is activity underneath. If you look at the feet of that swan, there's a lot of coordinated movement, but unaffected by all of it. It moves in the world through grace. Very gracefully. Such a life is a possibility. Such a life, Maharshi is telling, is a possibility that there's no more things to be done for the sake of happiness. A jnani has no bucket list. No bucket list. Nothing. Everything has been accomplished here and now. So recently, one of the students of Pujya Swamiji was recollecting his interaction with Pujya Swamiji before his final moments. And that person said, is there anything undone according to Pujya Swamiji from his own personal standpoint of view? Did he consider that something was undone, was not performed in his lifetime? There was something more to be done. Then that person was recollecting and said, in his interaction, Swamiji said, I have done my best. I have done my best. There's nothing more to be done. I have lived a full life. I have done my best. That's it. No hurt, no guilt, no unfinished agenda. No unfinished agenda for a jnani. So, such a life is a possibility. Maharshi is telling that this is all a possibility only when we withdraw the mind from its extroverted behavior to inquire into the nature of reality and gain this insight and live a happy and peaceful life here and now. And that becomes the base, foundation from which everybody functions. That is this verse saying. We'll see furthermore in the next class. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, Ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti